Look closely at the screen. You see a metal plate covered in fine sand. Beneath it, a speaker emits a single pure tone. The sand, which was in chaos, suddenly leaps to life. It organizes itself. It forms intricate, impossible patterns of breathtaking complexity. This is not a digital effect. This is a physical phenomenon known as cymatics. The sound is invisible, but its effect is undeniable. It is order emerging from chaos. Now, what if I told you this isn't just a fascinating physics experiment? What if I told you this is the key to understanding the universe? And what if I told you that ancient civilizations knew this and used this secret to engineer reality itself? We live in a world saturated by sound. It's the background music in a cafe, the notification ping on our phones, the entertainment we stream. To us, sound is passive. It's an accessory to life. But to the most advanced minds of the ancient world, sound was not an accessory. It was the architect. It was the source. It was the creative force of creation itself. This understanding was the cornerstone of their entire civilization, and no figure embodies this lost knowledge more than the enigmatic master Thoth. Known to the Egyptians as the scribe of the gods, and to the Greeks as Hermes Trismegistus, thrice greatest, Thoth was said to be the keeper of the emerald tablets. He was the master of wisdom, the architect of the Great Pyramid, and the guardian of mysteries that dwarfed human understanding. Legends say he gave humanity writing, mathematics, and science, but his deepest secret, the foundation upon which all his other knowledge was built, was his complete mastery of sound. This leads us to the central question of our journey today, a question that, once answered, will change the way you perceive the world. Why were Thoth and the ancient sages so utterly, profoundly obsessed with sound? It wasn't for music. It wasn't for communication. It was for something far more fundamental. They knew something we have forgotten. They knew that sound, frequency, and vibration are not just part of reality. They are reality. And in this documentary, we are going to unlock that forbidden secret. We will explore how they used this knowledge to heal the human body with astonishing precision. We will investigate the radical, mind-bending theories of how they used acoustic levitation to build megalithic structures like the pyramids, moving multi-ton blocks as if they were feathers. And, most importantly, we will descend into the heart of the mystery itself. We will ask why this knowledge was considered so dangerous that it had to be forbidden, fragmented, and buried by empires and secret societies. Why was it systematically erased from our history? Because the secret is this: whoever masters sound masters consciousness, and whoever masters consciousness masters reality. What you are about to hear is not just history. It is a reawakening of the most powerful technology on Earth, a technology hidden not in silicon chips, but within your own voice, your own mind, and the very fabric of the cosmos. Prepare yourself. The last symphony of creation is about to be played once more. Our modern understanding of the universe is built on sight. We trust what we see. We are a visual species. We believe in solid matter. We believe in particles. But this is an illusion, a beautiful and persistent one. The ancient sages, and indeed our most advanced quantum physicists, agree on one starting truth: nothing is solid. Everything you see, everything you are, is vibration. It is an infinite ocean of frequencies, a cosmic dance of energy. Your chair, the earth beneath your feet, the very thoughts in your head, they are all just different frequencies, different notes in a grand, universal song. We perceive a solid world only because our senses are tuned to interpret these vibrations as objects, colors, and textures. The sages of Thoth's era did not just know this, they experienced it. They perceived the world not as a collection of static things, but as a dynamic symphony of interacting frequencies, and they had a way to prove it. Let us return to the phenomenon of cymatics. When the Swiss physician Hans Jenny began his experiments in the 1960s, he was stunned. He demonstrated on video that when a pure tone, a single frequency, was played through a medium like sand, water, or paste, it would always organize that medium into a precise geometric form. A low frequency might create a simple circle or parallel lines, but as the frequency, the pitch, increased, the patterns became exponentially more complex. The sand would organize itself into perfect mandalas, floral patterns, and shapes identical to the intricate patterns found in living organisms, from the spiral of a galaxy to the shell of a nautilus. What Jenny had rediscovered in his lab was the ancients' most guarded secret. Sound creates form. This is not a metaphor, it is a literal physical law of the universe. Sound is the organizing principle. It is the invisible blueprint that tells matter how to structure itself. And this is where the puzzle pieces begin to lock into place. For millennia, we have been fascinated by sacred geometry. We see these patterns carved into the oldest temples on earth, from the flower of life at the Temple of Osiris in Abydos, Egypt, to the mandalas of Tibetan monks. We find them in the proportions of the Parthenon in Greece and the structure of the Great Pyramid itself. We dismissed these as art or symbolism. We were wrong. The sages were not just drawing these patterns. They were showing us what sound looks like. Sacred geometry is the visual representation of cosmic frequencies. It is the silent music of the universe frozen in stone. The flower of life is not just a pretty design. It is the physical geometric manifestation of a specific harmonic progression of sound. Metatron's cube, with its 13 circles, represents the fundamental geometric tones that give rise to the 5 platonic solids, the very building blocks of our three-dimensional reality. This is the meaning behind Thoth's most famous axiom, the core of all Hermetic philosophy: as above, so below. As above refers to the invisible, energetic realm, the realm of pure frequency, the music of the spheres. So below refers to the visible, physical realm, the world of matter, of geometry, of our bodies and our world. The axiom is not a philosophical musing, it is a formula. It means the invisible frequencies of the above directly create and organize the visible forms of the below. The sages were obsessed with sound because they understood this fundamental law. They were not just priests, they were the world's first true vibrational healers. Once you understand that sound creates form, the next step is logical. If you can control the sound, you can change the form. This is where the wisdom of Thoth transitions from profound philosophy to practical, world-altering technology. The ancients didn't just meditate on these frequencies, they weaponized them for creation and healing. This lost technology manifested in two primary and almost unbelievable applications: acoustic healing and acoustic levitation. Let's begin with healing. To the ancient sages, the human body was not a collection of chemical processes. It was a harmonic orchestra. Each organ, each bone, each cell, and even your DNA has its own unique resonant frequency. When you are in perfect health, your entire body vibrates in harmony. Every instrument is playing in tune, creating a beautiful, coherent symphony. So what is disease? Disease to them was simple: dissonance. A dis-ease is a disharmony. It means that one part of your body, say the liver, has been knocked out of its proper frequency. It's playing the wrong note. This can be caused by stress, by toxins, by fear, or by injury. This single, out-of-tune instrument begins to create a chaotic, dissonant vibration that spreads to the rest of the orchestra, and the body's overall health begins to fail. So what was the ancient cure? It was not to add another chemical. It was to retune the instrument. How? By using the law of sympathetic resonance. If you have two guitars in a room, and you pluck the G string on one, the G string on the other guitar will begin to vibrate all by itself. It catches the frequency. The ancients applied this same principle to the human body. They understood that if an organ was vibrating at a chaotic frequency, you didn't need to fight the chaos, you simply had to project the correct, pure, healthy frequency at it. The organ, through sympathetic resonance, would be forced to catch the pure tone. It would be reminded of its original note. The chaotic pattern would be overridden by the more powerful, coherent pattern, and the organ would be retuned, allowing the body to heal itself. This is the true, original purpose of mantras and chants. When a Tibetan monk chants Om, he is not just praying, he is vocally producing a sound that science has measured to resonate at the fundamental frequency of the earth itself, around 8 hertz. He is literally tuning his body to the vibration of the planet. The sacred words and chants used by Egyptian priests were not arbitrary. They were precise sonic formulas, each vowel and consonant designed to resonate with and stimulate a specific organ, a specific chakra, or a specific gland. They were vocal prescriptions of frequency. But they didn't stop with the voice. They built their greatest structures to be massive instruments of this healing technology. Think of the Great Pyramid of Giza. We are told it was a tomb, yet no body, no mummy was ever found in its main chambers. The King's Chamber is a masterpiece of acoustic engineering. It is built entirely of red granite, a stone densely packed with quartz crystals. Quartz, as we know, is piezoelectric. It vibrates and creates an electrical field when sound is applied to it. The sarcophagus in that chamber is not a coffin, it is a resonator. It is precision engineered to resonate at a very specific frequency. Acoustic engineers who have studied it report that the entire chamber is a powerful sound amplifier designed to be deafeningly loud, magnifying any sound made within it. The true initiation for a priest in the school of Thoth was likely to lie in that sarcophagus, while priests in the chamber chanted the sacred frequencies. The initiate's body would be blasted with pure, concentrated vibration, amplified by the crystal granite chamber, shaking every cell into perfect alignment, shattering energetic blockages, and literally retuning their consciousness to a higher state. This was not a tomb. It was a resurrection machine, a vibrational healing device. The Serapeum at Saqqara, with its 25 massive 100-ton granite boxes, defy all explanation. They are polished to a nanometer perfect flatness. The lids alone weigh 30 tons. Mainstream Egyptology suggests they were for sacred bowls, but ask any sound engineer and they will tell you these boxes are the most advanced resonance chambers ever discovered. They were designed to create and amplify specific, incredibly low-frequency sounds, infrasound, that could be felt, not heard, and which have a profound effect on the human brain and body. This was their technology of healing, and it is a technology we are only just beginning to rediscover with modern sound therapy and Rife machines. But if they could use sound to heal, they could also use it to build. And this brings us to the second and perhaps more controversial application, acoustic levitation. How were the pyramids built? How did a civilization with primitive tools cut, move, and stack 2.3 million limestone and granite blocks, some weighing over 80 tons, with a precision our best modern cranes cannot match? The conventional answer of ramps and slaves is frankly an insult to our intelligence. The mathematics and logistics simply do not work. The sages left us clues. Legends from around the world, from Egypt to Tibet to the Andes, all speak of the same thing. The gods or masters used sound to move the great stones. This is not as crazy as it sounds. We already know that sound can affect physical matter through cymatics. We also know that sound is a pressure wave. At sufficient amplitude, a sound wave can shatter a wine glass. At even higher, focused amplitude, it can shatter a kidney stone. This is modern medicine. Now take that principle and amplify it. Scientists today are experimenting with acoustic levitation, using powerful intersecting sound waves to trap and suspend small objects like drops of water or even small insects in midair. It works. The pressure of the sound waves creates a cradle that counteracts gravity. The ancient sages mastering the laws of frequency were rumored to have perfected this on a massive scale. By finding the precise resonant frequency of a massive stone, its anti-gravity note, and applying that frequency with immense focused amplitude, perhaps using thousands of priests chanting in unison or through giant tuning fork devices, they could neutralize its weight. They could render a 100-ton block nearly weightless, allowing it to be guided into place with minimal effort. This would explain the impossible stone cutting at Pumapunku in Bolivia, where granite blocks are cut with laser-like precision as if a giant high-frequency sound knife had simply melted the stone. It would explain the stories of Tibetan monks using horns and drums to lift boulders up a mountainside. Oh, the obsession then becomes clear. Sound was not just their religion, it was their medicine, it was their high science, it was their heavy machinery. It was the unified field theory that allowed them to manipulate the physical world in ways we can only still dream of. But this power, the power to heal and the power to build, also came with a dark side, a power that, in the wrong hands, could be used not to create, but to control. And this is the heart of the forbidden secret. We have established that sound is a creative force. It can organize matter, heal the body, and build the impossible. These applications alone would be enough to classify it as the most powerful science in history. But the ancients knew it went even deeper. The true power of sound, the power that empires rise and fall on, is not in its effect on matter, but in its effect on consciousness. This is the secret that was deemed so dangerous it had to be forbidden. This is why this knowledge was systematically fragmented, hidden in mystery schools, and demonized as magic or heresy. Because if you can control sound, you can influence thought. You can induce emotions. You can suppress dissent. You can, quite literally, control the minds of the masses. Let us first explore the gateway aspect. The sages used sound for spiritual initiation. We know this. Rhythmic drumming, hypnotic chanting, and the resonant frequencies of temples were all used to do one thing: shift the brain's state. Your brain operates at different frequencies. Beta, 13 to 30 hertz, is your normal alert monkey mind state. Alpha, 8 to 13 hertz, is a state of relaxed focus. Theta, 4 to 8 hertz, is the state of deep meditation, intuition, and dreaming. Delta, 0.5 to 4 hertz, is deep, dreamless sleep. The ancients were masters of brainwave entrainment. The steady hypnotic pulse of a shaman's drum at 4 to 7 beats per second is not arbitrary. It is scientifically designed to pull the listener's brainwaves out of the chaotic beta state and down into the intuitive theta state. In this theta state, the veils of reality thin. Initiates in the resonant chambers of the pyramids, blasted with specific frequencies, would have their consciousness thrust into these altered states, allowing them to perceive other dimensions, access akashic records, and commune with higher intelligence. Sound was the key that unlocked the doors of perception. It was the gateway from the material world to the energetic above. But this key can be used to lock doors just as easily as it can be used to open them. This is the forbidden secret. This is what was suppressed. If you can use a sacred frequency to induce a state of bliss, peace, and divine connection, you can also use an inharmonic frequency to induce a state of fear, anxiety, and submission. The power to heal is also the power to harm. Think of this in a modern context. The U.S. military has developed acoustic weapons, often called LRADs, long-range acoustic devices. These devices project a highly focused beam of sound, a sonic spike, that is so painfully dissonant, so chaotic to the human nervous system that it causes extreme pain, nausea, and an uncontrollable fight or flight panic. It can disperse a crowd of thousands in seconds, not with bullets, but with sound. This is the dark mirror of Thoth's technology. Now imagine an empire that understands this principle not just for crowd control, but for societal control. If you wanted to keep a population docile, anxious, and easy to rule, you wouldn't need an army on every street corner. You would just need to pump a subtle, low-level fear frequency through the environment, a dissonant hum just below the level of conscious hearing that keeps the collective nervous system in a constant state of low-grade stress. A population in a state of beta wave anxiety is fragmented, reactive, and looks to external authority for safety. They are incapable of the deep, intuitive theta wave thinking that leads to sovereignty and rebellion. This is why the knowledge was forbidden. The destruction of the great library of Alexandria was not just a tragic loss of books, it was a vibrational purge. The conquerors who burned those scrolls were not just destroying history, they were destroying the sheet music of reality. They were erasing the formulas, the frequencies, the chants, and the acoustic science that gave individuals the power to heal themselves, the power to build their own reality, and the power to think for themselves. They destroyed the knowledge of how to become a sovereign being, and replaced it with systems of control. This suppression has continued for millennia. The knowledge was driven underground into the hands of secret societies. The Hermetic mystery schools kept the flame alive, but only for the chosen few. Why? Because this knowledge, once universally understood, is the ultimate power to the people. If you understand that your own emotions are frequencies, you can learn to control them. If you know that a state of peace is a literal, measurable vibration, you can learn to generate that vibration within yourself, regardless of external circumstances. A person who has mastered their own frequency cannot be easily manipulated. They're immune to the fear frequencies broadcast by media. They cannot be drawn into the rage frequencies of divisive politics. They are in tune with themselves, and as such, they are sovereign. They are individual, meaning undivided. This is the ultimate forbidden secret. The obsession Thoth and the sages had with sound was not just about building monuments or healing the sick. It was about liberation. It was the science of personal sovereignty. It was the path to becoming a conscious creator of your own reality, immune to the control and chaos of the outside world. And this is a power that no hierarchical system, no empire, and no controlling authority ever wants the individual to possess. For millennia, this knowledge has slept. It has been fragmented into myth, hidden in symbols, and dismissed as fantasy. But it was never truly lost. It was merely waiting. And today, we are in the midst of a great reawakening. The forbidden knowledge of Thoth is bubbling back up to the surface, and science itself is leading the charge. When Nikola Tesla, one of the modern masters, said, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration," he was not postulating a new theory. He was restating the most ancient law of the cosmos. He was echoing Thoth. When our quantum physicists stare into the subatomic realm and tell us that particles are not things at all, but probabilities of vibration, they are confirming what the sages knew 5,000 years ago. They are proving that the universe is not a machine, but a thought, a song. We are rediscovering the technology of sound healing. Bioacoustics is a rapidly growing field, proving that specific frequencies can indeed shatter cancer cells while leaving healthy cells unharmed. Doctors are using vibrational therapy to heal bones and tissues. We are, in essence, slowly and clumsily rebuilding the science that the ancients had already perfected. The secret obsession of the sages is at last making sense. They were obsessed with sound because they knew it was the master key to everything. It is the language of creation, the code of reality, the technology of healing, and the path to spiritual liberation. But this time, the knowledge is not being locked away in granite temples or hidden in secret societies. It is exploding into the collective consciousness, available to anyone with an open mind and an internet connection. This brings the power and the responsibility back to you. You are not a passive observer in a solid, predetermined world. You are a vibrational being. You are an instrument in the cosmic orchestra. And like any instrument, you have a choice. You can let yourself be tuned by the chaos of the world, the fear, the anger, the dissonance, or you can choose to tune yourself. This is the legacy of Thoth. This is the power he tried to preserve. You can learn to generate your own frequency. When you choose to feel gratitude, you are emitting a powerful, coherent frequency. When you speak with kindness, you are broadcasting a healing vibration. When you meditate, you are tuning your brain to the frequency of the cosmos. You don't need to lie in a granite sarcophagus. Your own voice, used with intention, can become a healing tool. The Om you chant in a yoga class is not just a ritual, it is a technology. The music you choose to listen to is not just entertainment, it is the vibrational food you are feeding your consciousness. The secret succession of the sages is at last making sense. They were obsessed with sound because they knew it was the master key to everything. It is the language of creation, the code of reality, the technology of healing, and the path to spiritual liberation. Now, what will you create?